So today I'm doing something a little different than I usually do. I thought it'd be interesting to try making a series of videos where I essentially try recreating games that I enjoy in short periods of time. And due to the fact that they are in short periods of time, they will be god-awful, but I think it could be interesting to see what comes out of this. And I was planning on doing the time span as an hour, however, it's almost 1:30 in the morning, so what I'm gonna do is try making a game in half an hour. There's no way this can go well. Essentially for this, I think I'm gonna try recreating Celeste. Obviously not the full game, probably just try building some of the mechanics, and then like a short level, and then see what I get out of it. Let's go. So currently it's 1:24. So the first thing I'm going to need to do is obviously create beautiful sprites for Madeline as well as the ground. Now, I don't have time to open the game right now, definitely, so what I'm going to do, I think, is just recreate some very great textures for the ground. I think I'm going to go after the first area of the game where it's like blue and ice and snow and stuff. If I saw this in the game, I would immediately know that game was professional. Yeah, okay, cool. So that's the texture for walls. And to accompany that, I obviously need the sprite for Madeline, the character you play as. So here's her head, and really the only thing you need is hair. Like, honestly, God, this looks like Windy from Wendy's, you know? That's not good. I think if I just change this to be a slightly oranger tone, it should be all good. Yeah, honestly, this looks just like Madeline from the actual games. Yeah, I think this is absolutely perfect. And I think I need one more sprite for now, which is the spike sprite. In Celeste, the spikes are thin, so this should work just perfectly. So that's the spikes. And now to get onto objects. Now I'm gonna, start by creating two objects. I'm gonna just make a pretty basic platforming code. Okay, so I have some basic code here, which should allow me to move left and right and also be able to jump. Okay, so there aren't collisions. I think I'll add that. Yes! So as you can see, the controls are inverted. And you can jump. Let me fix the controls real quick. Don't ask how I messed it up, I don't know. So it's only been about 10 minutes, and I already have a whole 3 beautiful sprites, and wait, you don't jump with the space. I always forget what keys you use to play Celeste. However, I believe that the correct key is actually the C key. Now, one of the most crucial parts to Celeste gameplay is the dash. This is like one of the best parts. It allows you to have so much movement, and it's pretty much different from any other platformers I've seen. So essentially what it does is once per jumping in the air, with some exceptions, it allows you to do a dash, which acts essentially like a double jump, I guess, except it allows you to gain momentum in one chosen direction, including diagonals. So adding a dash should be pretty not easy, at least compared to what I've done so far. So if I do this, but then if I move to the... Okay, so essentially I think what's happening here is the dash is really, really bad in every way. Oh, anyway, I'll finagle with this a little bit longer until I get the dash working to some level. Okay, so I have 12 minutes, and I think I'm going to leave out grabbing. I'm going to spend the rest of the time on building the level, except one last thing, which is I need to add a spike object. So I just added it so that if you touch the dead object, it will kill you by restarting the room. It's pretty simple. Okay, wait. There's one last thing. I know I keep saying it's the last thing, but in Celeste, when you dash, your hair turns blue, and I think it's really important to signify this in this game as well. So I'm going to use these just really great colors to represent this, and there we go. Here's the blue version. So this room's not quite big enough, I don't think. Let's just make it a little bit bigger. Let's see how big this is now. You know, I think it could be bigger. It could be a little bigger. Perfect. Just the sprites, you can see them just so well on the screen here. It's just like amazing. Anyway, yeah, you thought I was gonna have scrolling in this game? Oh, what? Imagine having scrolling. So, I'll be back in 8 minutes once I've built up a level and see if it's possible. So I did just realize it's kind of bland with only these 3 objects. So I'm going to add one last thing, which is one of the other first things that you find within the game of Celeste, the beautiful game of Celeste, which is a dash orb. This is what you get. This is a dash orb in this game. This is what it looks like. Essentially, it's an orb in the air that, when touched, will give you your dash back. Now, that in theory is pretty easy to make. Okay, so it's 159. This is my beautiful level I've concocted. You jump over some spikes, some more spikes. You go over here, you get a little taste for the orbs, and then after that, you get a big taste for the orbs. Hopefully it's possible. And now let's see, in half an hour, let's see this beautiful game of Celeste I have created. So here I am in this amazing game. And I think I actually way overestimated the distance that you can get out of a dash. Oh, I totally did. So it turns out that about the 3rd jump is impossible. Isn't that fun? Now, I am going to modify the game slightly, real quick, to make it physically possible. So I've now buffed dash slightly. This is kind of more of what I remember it being. And, oh, you can just totally skip orbs so easily. Well, I'm always a fan of a green orb skip, you know. Okay, I think I found the next impossible part. Okay, this is actually way harder than I was expecting. I just realized I don't even need to get that green orb. I can totally skip it. And I immediately die. So both of these green orbs are actually entirely pointless. So it turns out there's another impossible part. Yay! Now, I'm really devoted to this, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go and I'm gonna make this possible and come back for attempt 3. Okay, attempt 3, as you can see, I moved one of the spikes, added an extra spike, and then, you know, just put a few extra orbs there if I need assistance, because I'm really hoping this will be the last edit I need to make, although chances are it's not. So this time I'm hoping it is possible. Although, it actually appears to be challenging. How did this game actually end up to have any level of challenge in it? Okay, I'm back here again. And I just completely missed that. So what's interesting is, so on that left, as you can see, there's a pillar where there's the 5 green orbs. There's actually, the lowest green orb is actually useless. Because as you can see, you don't get enough height off of it in order to hit this orb. You actually have to jump in order to hit it. I don't know how I hit that green orb the first time, because it appears to be an insanely precise jump to do so. Okay. I'm finally back here. So, okay. That little passageway might be impossible, because you don't actually get gravity immunity in a dash state. So, you know what that means? I bet you do. Attempt 4. Okay, so as you can see, I just moved those spikes at the end up a tiny little bit. And I also realized that because I moved it up, the single green orb wasn't quite enough. It wasn't going to be quite enough to get you all the way up to that wind tech. So I just added a couple extra green orbs over there that together should be about enough green orbs in order to get you all the way up to the wind text. Okay, I finally got back here. So, no, that actually, getting over that wind text is actually going to be a lot harder than I thought. I just realized it might not actually be quite as possible as I thought. However, there might still be a way. Essentially, the player sprite is barely less than a tile wide, and the spike sprite is a full tile wide, hitbox-wise I mean. Which means that if there's only a 1 tile gap between those 2 spikes, you need to be extremely precise in order to land between them. Yeah, luckily, it's possible to do a jump over both spikes directly to the green orb. And with a little bit of precision from there, I think I might just be able to get to the secret ending. which you definitely can't see from anywhere in the room. Okay, so it's definitely possible. I just need to be a little more precise there, but I got to probably the last hard jump on the entire thing. Oh my god, I finally did it. I've reached the secret. So yeah, that was interesting. It took me 22 minutes to beat, which is 2/3 of the time it took to make. Anyway, thanks for actually watching. I'm planning on making some other videos like this, probably with longer time limits, like trying to recreate a game in an hour or a few hours. And also, I think it could be interesting to make direct sequels where I come back and see what else I can do given another hour or something. Anyway, good night. Or, well, I'm planning to actually upload this in like morning or afternoon time. So, good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever time it is, have a good time. Goodbye.